What if I said that winning your wife back didn't require you to sacrifice a single thing? This man saved his marriage without bending over backwards or trying to make his wife happy. Instead, he used one simple shift that when you make it, will leave you feeling confident, grounded, and empowered. Not only that, but it also draws your wife back to you because it's something she's been craving your entire marriage. There's no greater win-win.
Right now, it's great. It's really good. Like the other day, 2 nights ago in the kitchen, I said things are really good. And she goes, yeah, I got my Timmy back.
In this video, I will reveal the secret to unlocking unwavering confidence plus 4 other key actions to completely transform your marriage that this man used. Now, the first lesson, it's clear as day in his first major breakthrough with his wife. Just listen to this.
And then the first win I had with her was a few days into it, maybe 4 or 5 days. And I was at the office and she called, she said she's at her grandmother's house. And I usually come right over. I just do whatever she wants, right? And I texted back and I said, I'm feeling like I just want to go home and you be quiet a little bit, so I'm not going to come tonight. And she told me later, that was a pivotal moment for her because she realized that I'm taking care of myself, and I stood up for myself.
The lesson here is independent regulation. You see, this client made his own well-being a top priority. And this is crucial because it sends a clear message you're committed to yourself, your boundaries, and your self-respect. And nothing will interfere with that. It demonstrates independence, strength, and leadership qualities that women find irresistibly attractive. For example, in the movie La La Land, Sebastian, played by Ryan Gosling, my twin, he faces a tough choice. He's offered a spot in a successful band that promises money and fame, but it means giving up his dream of opening a jazz club. At the same time, his girlfriend Mia is chasing her dream of becoming an actress, and it would be easy for him to follow her lead and take the safer, more conventional path. But instead, Sebastian decides to stick to his own dream, even if it means going in a different direction from Mia. This moment is a great example of independent regulation in a relationship. Sebastian doesn't just go along with what's expected or what might keep things comfortable. He prioritizes his own goals and values, showing that sometimes staying true to yourself is the most important thing you can do, even in a relationship.
People will want to go to it because you're passionate about it, and people love what other people are passionate about.
Right now, more than ever, your natural response is to want to be around her. The dynamic of your relationship has shifted, and you're in panic mode, jumping at any glimmer of attention she throws your way. But this only reinforces the image of you in her mind, tainted by needy behavior that pushes her further away. Like Sebastian, you need to regulate your independence and prioritize your own well-being. Embrace the road less traveled. Now, this is the opposite of being needy, and it's one of the most masculine and confident things that you'll do. Now more than ever, it's time to harness that independent regulation within you. In my client's case, whose name I'll keep anonymous for privacy, he found himself in a toxic marriage without even realizing it. He had been happily married to his first wife for 33 years before she passed away. And when he eventually remarried, everything seemed great at first.
It was going great. And then for the last few months, I noticed she just seemed to be like a wall was up, I noticed. And then 3 months ago, I found a journal that she wrote, and she wrote like a bunch of really kind of horrible things about me and my character, and and it really, I thought it was over, and then we talked about it. She said, no, that's just the way I process. And she goes, I can show you my other journals written about other things and other people. And she said, I just kind of exaggerate and actually make stuff up. Most of it's not true, but I just get angry and I have to vent.
Many people journal as a way to vent and really find therapeutic, release. It helps them express themselves on paper. But in this case, that toxic neediness, it reared its ugly head.
So that's her process. And I didn't realize that, but it took me, I had a really hard time trusting that was true at the beginning. So I started snooping, right? And started going through her phone and going through other journals, and she caught me a few times, and then she felt violated, and finally she said, I'm done. She goes, we're in a toxic relationship, I'm done. And she told me that I'll never forget, I came home for lunch and she said, I found a place to live. I want a divorce. I'm gonna move out soon. because it's finished, right?
Desperate for a last chance to save his marriage, he reacted.
But I also got real needy, and I begged her to stay, and I said, I'm thinking about joining this program. And so, and that night, and I thought it was over. And she was not really responsive, right, positively at all. And she got actually angry.
This man just had 2 weeks to make changes that were powerful enough to capture his wife's attention, and he did. And the second lesson here is the shift he made that displayed unshakable confidence and gave him a sense of peace of mind. It's something his wife had been waiting for him to do all along. Listen to our conversation.
And I realized that I didn't really have a fatherly, strong influence at all when I was growing up.
How do you think that affected your relationship with her, not having that strong male influence?
I came across weak and insecure and needy, and I was. And I realize now I was.
Can you give me an example of something that maybe used to happen that you would do that would lead to that neediness, and then what you would
I would
do
just give her everything she wants.
Mm.
And I wouldn't tell her what I really felt about things. I would just kind of go along with whatever she wanted. You know? And that's not what she wants.
And you realize now maybe that made her feel what when you did that?
Like she had to be more of a man. You know, she had to lead, you know, and she told me that as well, just a few minutes ago. She goes, you know, you're like taking control of things more now. And she goes, I really appreciate that because that's what I want.
What we're talking about here is called empowered direction. Empower yourself to take the lead so your wife doesn't have to. My client lacked a strong fatherly influence, and his wife eventually admitted, well, she wanted him to step up and take more responsibility, make decisions, and even on the small things like dinner or household tasks. When you take empowered direction, it relieves pressure off of your wife. If she's always in charge, she can't relax into her feminine and instead operates in her masculine, which leads to stress and resentment. But when you lead, she softens, you know, the mood lightens, and while everyone has different levels of masculine and feminine energy, remember, you're doing your wife a massive favor when you lead in a loving way. Imagine this, you know, dance, and each partner has a role. You as the leader, you guide the flow and set the pace. If the leader hesitates, the follower has to take over, disrupting the natural rhythm, and you step on each other's emotional toes. However, when you confidently step into that role, your partner can relax into hers and be guided by your embrace. This, more than anything, creates a harmonious, beautiful dance that you guys are just floating through in life. Like any great dance, mastering your role takes practice and attention and effort to move smoothly together. So the next principle will build upon this last one. Applying this one will not only ensure that your changes stand the test of time, but you will foster emotional resilience, which will then build trust and attraction in her eyes. Our client really sums this up.
It's doing the work every day, right? Your program is amazing. What you put together, like you've just taken all these sources and put them together in a real easy format for people to follow. And it just takes commitment every day to spend whatever time. I do it in the morning, is whatever time it takes, and really do it right. And it's painful sometimes doing the exercises and writing out honestly and being vulnerable with myself, because it's not easy to look at myself sometimes, but just a daily decision to do it and work it and be honest and realize I'm not perfect and I make mistakes, but I'm going to be doing gradually more and more things right.
Yes, he talks about the program, but even if you're not in the program, the same principle applies. And that is the importance of progressive discipline. You need to be persistent in applying what you learn, whether from this channel or through other programs or therapists, but you must take different action. Now, if you want to take action with us, set up a call with our team down below. It's free, but you must be fully committed, and we'll give you that evaluation call to see what you should do next. One key lesson this man learned right from the start was this.
Because your chances are really good. And she goes, but don't do it for her, do it for you. So that's kind of what sold me. And so I joined at 1:30 in the morning. And then I had my first call with Kristen 2 days later, which was phenomenal, by the way. And it really got me started on just becoming a better me and becoming more confident. But then I finally decided to just do it for me. And if it fails, then at least for my next relationship, I'll be a better me.
Man, look, you gotta do this work for you. When you do it for yourself, not for her, it shifts your entire perspective and works in your favor. That's the first biggest shift that guys have that work with us. When they put their growth on the things that their wife is doing, kisses, hugs, like, oh, I love you, and all these things, little wins from externally, it leaves you in reaction mode. This is a practical way to apply this mindset and gain newfound confidence through self-truth declarations. Have a listen.
So that's really been helpful, is just continually say affirmations, so to speak, to myself. I call them declarations, but declare who I am, and as and I'll take a walk and just declare over and over who I am. And every morning I do my declarations, and one of them is I have a fantastic relationship with Tammy, right? And I was doing that before, even before things went sour, but then I really relied on that. And I think putting that out brings things and ideas and people like your program, you and Kristen and Mark, to me and helps me fulfill that declaration. So basically, and when I say my declarations, I say them like until I believe them.
Talking about this gets me so motivated, so I had to jump in.
Can I touch on that? Because people recently have been really like degrading affirmations. Like, oh, affirmations don't work. And okay, so here's the thing. It's about how you use them, right? Just like any tool. And so when people say like, oh, I'm just going to say in the mirror, like, oh, I believe in myself. It's like, yeah. And the reason why is like, one, when you use it, you have to believe it. You have to feel that it's actually happening, right? And also the way you stated it, which is really powerful. These declarations are not like, I will have a successful relationship or a happy relationship. It's like, I already do. And when you say things in the positive, like all my goals on my board right now, they don't say like, I will have this. It's I already do. And what happens is that when you tell your brain that you already have it, it creates cognitive dissonance. And our brain cannot sit with something that is just cognitively dissonant. So it has to create that thing to become true if you believe it to already be true. So what you'll do is that you will become the man to get that thing because you already believe it's true. And so that's the way you do affirmations. I think we should like completely eradicate the whole word affirmation and call it declarations, because that's honestly way better.
It's really what it is.
Manifest the power of self-truth declarations and you'll experience radical change just like he did. Here's a quick story from his time running a chiropractic clinic, and just check it out.
When I first started doing it was actually 2015 when my late wife was sick and diagnosed with, 4 to 6 months to live. She lived 6.5 years, thank God. But, and I would and my practice just really crashed. And the first thing I did for a whole year is I said, I'm going to declare that I am at a certain level of practice and a certain amount of people. And sometimes it would take me 30 minutes to say, I'm a magnet for blank people a day. Right. And I visualized that for 1 year from then, and exactly a year that week, we hit those numbers. Right. It was amazing. And I really learned, but I did it until I felt it, like you're saying, emotionally. And, until I really believed it. And I said, it's already happened. Thank you, God. It's already done. Right. And so I believed it. And then the rest of the day, I wouldn't believe it, but then I'd go back and believe it,
So I urge you to create some self-truth declarations of your own. And when you say them, make sure you feel the emotion. That emotion is the energy that pulls you toward that truth of the new embodiment of who you are, okay? And just do it for 30 days. And if you get no results in 30 days, send a comment down below and I will you could say, I told you so. And the words I am followed by whatever it is, it shapes who you are and what you get in life. Now, this next lesson has everything to do with owning your frame with her in conversation. Imagine never buckling under pressure or not knowing what to say to her in conversation. Honing this skill will create emotional safety with her, prompting her to show you a side of her that she's been saving for you, that she used to show you. But when she trusts you again, she opens up that soft, feminine, happy, loving woman. I call it frame integrity. Again, our client shares this lesson here.
I need to stay in my own frame and ask myself questions. Is that who I am? No, that's not who I am. Then stay in my own frame, and instead of going into what I think hers might be.
Your wife has tested you, and she will continue to do so. No matter what, you must remain unreactive and hold your frame. This is crucial for building trust and emotional safety. For example, have a listen.
Yeah, major tests. Like she goes, if I was financially independent, I'd be gone, right? I'd have my own place. I'd live on my own. And she just lost it, right? And my first reaction was get real defensive and justify and all that. But then, which I kind of did, but then I remembered, and so I just accepted it and I tried to acknowledge it, and then later she said, I didn't really mean that. So it's that dual mindset again, you know, and you just realize that they're just different.
Hurt people, right? That's the phrase. And yeah, when
Yeah.
she's in pain, that she's only going to see a reality in which that pain is there, right? And so it's like this is what a lot of guys, the biggest mistake they'll make, right, is when their wife says something, whether it's like, I don't want to, I want a divorce, or I'm done with you, just give up. It's like we take it as like truth, because in
Yeah.
our world as men, like truth is true. When we say something, it has to remain true, right? We have honor, we have the code, we have dignity, we have integrity. Where a woman, she thinks that, as from her perspective, like they're like, oh, guys are so like inflexible, they're rigid, like they don't follow their emotions, like you know what I mean? And so knowing that is like one of the key differences between men and women. And it allows you, the beauty behind that, Tim, is like it allows you to create the reality that you want, right? In your frame. Like, oh yeah, I believe, okay, yeah, she's saying that right now, but I know she truly loves me. And you'll operate with her in a way that makes that so, because you believe it, right? And so,
Yeah. Yeah.
and when you fall into her frame, you're being more feminine, right? You're being
Yeah.
the follower.
Yeah.
So
If you didn't catch all of that, I urge you to click back and listen to that again. Just trust me. Go back, 20 seconds on just double tap on the screen and just watch that again. When you maintain frame integrity, you can create the reality that you want. Let me share with you a story on how you can keep your cool, literally and figuratively, even when you're tempted to let that part of you just spiral apart.
yeah, I went to do a cold plunge yesterday. I'm going to share it in the group, me doing it. And I had a little speech while I was in the cold plunge. So you'll see in the Facebook group. I'm going to post it actually later today. But my partner, she was having a really tough day, right? Really tough day. And then she called me, she said, hey, can you park next to me? And I couldn't really hear her. And so I didn't park next to her. And she had to walk to the cold plunge without me. And she was like all upset. She's like, you didn't park next to me. I told you to. And I heard my voice say, Josh, I'm like, no, get the fence. I didn't hear you, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I paused and I was like, I'm sorry. And I gave her a hug. I was, let's go, let's go. It's like that little moment of like immediately, I still want to get defensive. I want to be like, I didn't hear you. Like, it's not a big deal. It's like less than like half a mile. A big, that would have led to a different result, right? That would have led to arguing, fighting. The whole experience would have been ruined. I would have been hating myself in the cold plunge, but I was like, I paused, right? The pause is important, not reacting, right? And then be like, she's hurt right now. Yeah, I'm sorry. And give her a hug, give her a kiss. Like, let's go in here, lead, right? Boom. Completely dismantled, right? And so, yeah, it's so vital to recognize those things, like that pause, not being reactive, right? And
remember to take that pause. If you'd like to watch a video that talks more about maintaining your frame in that crucial moment where you're tempted to react in haste, check out the video right here. Smash the like button, and if you're new here, subscribe, because we have 2 videos a week. And much love to you. See you in the next one. Cheers.